I'm Lacey. This is my life. I'm being intentional. Singing and dancing and acting and stuff. Welcome to my channel. Lace up, cause here we go. Hey you guys, I'm back. Thank you for coming back to check out this new video. I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to say to anyone who, is watching, anyone who wants to listen. And this week, the thing that kind of hit me was self-love. And I know you guys hear about that a lot, especially on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, but I wanted to kind of share a little bit of my experience. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and then once you do that, go ahead and hit the notification bell, click all from the pop-up menu so that you never miss out. Let's get into it. So at the start of my career, I wasn't really too concerned about the way that I looked as far as skin tone and body shape and things like that. I just knew I was doing what I love to do, and that was dancing and performing and entertaining. But once you step into the entertainment industry, things start looking a little different. So this entire video is basically how to love you while in the entertainment industry. It can be difficult. That's why you notice a lot of celebrities, A-listers, have a big issue with loving themselves and finding people to talk to, because it gets hard to trust people and things like that. Getting to my experience, let's see, one of the biggest things that I did was a movie that I had done with Ben Stiller. I didn't really experience any issues there because I was very adamant about being true to who I am, my morals, my understandings, my teachings. One of the things that they actually commended me on set was the fact that I did do that. A lot of girls think that you have to kind of merge into a different way of thinking once you get somewhere, or in order to get so far, and that part wasn't my experience. There was actually a costume that they wanted me to wear that I thought was way too short, so I actually asked for an extra layer. They were taken back by that, and one day we had a family day on set, and they spoke to my mom and told her how refreshing it was to have someone who actually cared about themselves and wasn't just there to just kind of blend in and do whatever it takes to get to the top. So they commended her on her teachings and keeping me close in a way where I didn't compromise my body or my comfort or my morals to fit into entertainment business. So I thought that was really, really cool. I felt comfortable, I felt good, and it was awesome for my mom to get a report like that. It was pretty cool, especially from the producers themselves. And we're talking like Screen Gems and Paramount, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal for someone to go out of their way on their time that they're getting paid to put a movie together, to take time to find my mom and do that. When I was on tour with Taylor Swift, I was her dance captain. I assisted in choreography, and we went overseas for So You Think You Can Dance Australia, and I was able to do choreography for the song, her performance song, You Belong With Me, as well as Hot and Cold on tour with, we weren't on tour with Katy Perry, but Katy came to the Staples Center, and I was asked to kind of change up the You Belong With Me choreography, and we just used that. So I changed it up and put my own little stamp on it. My experience there was a little bit different. So for me, I was already at a place where I felt I had to change my shape. The reason I say that is because everyone I ever worked with was small, and that was like the big thing. You need to be small. Clothes look better on small bodies and small frames, and the camera puts 10 pounds on you. It's like 5 or 10 pounds. And I heard that all the time. I always felt like I had a pudge, I always felt that, and I always felt like I was the biggest girl in the room. And if you look at some of the images of me on tour and on the TV show that I did in LA, I wasn't really that big. And that's the crazy part about it, is I thought I was. I thought I needed to make huge changes. And what I didn't even realize until after tour was they had to keep taking in my costumes. That's how, like, I was running 2 and 3 miles a day just to make sure I kept my job. One girl who was on tour with us, some of y'all will know who I'm talking about, but she was itty bitty, gorgeous girl, but itty bitty. Like, you could see her spine, like the top of her spine, when she would wear like low cut shirts and stuff like that. She gained a tiny bit of weight, and I'm telling you, everyone started complimenting her like, dang girl, you're looking good, you got body. Like, she was feeling so good about herself. She even started working out, and I mean that in a way where she was gaining muscle and, you know, feeling good about herself. It came to a point where her job was threatened had she not stopped eating so much. Like, they threatened this girl that she could possibly lose her job because she was getting too big. This is someone who you can see her spine and her ribs through her, like you could see all that, but she was getting too big, you know, when she started eating healthy and putting a little weight on. I mean, every single show, it seemed like the other 2 girls, they had to keep taking out their costumes, but you know, they wanted to feel good about themselves. Me, I wasn't trying to be, oh gosh, I wasn't trying to be skinny, but I didn't want a stomach. I didn't want to be bigger than the other girls to a certain extent. I didn't want wardrobe to have to really go the extra mile for me to fit in the costumes, because I didn't want to be booted out because I had to do so much work. And that is something as a dancer, man, even actors and models, like, that's something that we really go through a lot, and it sucks. It does not feel good to be in that position. There was a point where I was sitting at lunch. Actually, we were all, there's a point where we were all sitting at lunch together. It was all the dancers. It was Taylor and her mom. And y'all, so we were sitting down and I was enjoying myself. I knew I had already run my 2 and 3 miles. I worked out that day. I actually started the insanity workouts with one of the male dancers, because he was doing it like all the time, and I was like, yo, like his muscles were getting bigger, and I was like, you're doing that with cardio? But so I was doing that, and y'all, I had lost so much weight. I think they had to take in my they had to take in my love story just about every single show, because we could not figure out why during one of our turns I continued to trip every single night on my skirt. And I'm like, what is happening? And we started realizing my skirt had gone from waist all the way down to my hips because I had lost so much weight in my stomach and my back. So they had to take it in like every single night. And I didn't even realize that I was doing that to myself. I just knew I didn't want to lose my job, because this was one of those one in a lifetime, you know, opportunity. And I didn't want to lose my job. I loved my job. I loved performing. It was so much fun. There was a lot going on behind the scenes with the other dancers, but that's another time. This particular time we were sitting at lunch and I had eaten a salad, drank some of my water, and then I went back for another helping of my salad because, I mean, it was iceberg lettuce, so you know there's no nutrients in that, but I did put a little protein in it, so that's what I was really going after. So anyway, I went back to get a little some more of my salad. I put it down, had my little drink. Taylor was looking at her mom like, and like, of course she got everybody's attention, because it's like, what is she doing, you know? And then she tried to do it again, and her mom was like, what child, what? So she takes my drink from in front of my plate, moves it to the side, and does this. Like, look at her. Look at what she's doing. She's eating. You know what I mean? That was the first time I looked at Taylor differently. But, I mean, and these other girls had like steak and like all this food on their plate. But it was my plate that particular day that she decided to bring attention to. I was like, I'm eating salad, you know? And then I actually looked up at the other girls' plates and I was like, okay. Interesting. Stuff like that really, they take a toll on you, especially when you're constantly going through that. And that's something you deal with every single show or tour or any wardrobe group that you deal with. While I'm at it, let me pay tribute to the women who I think are busting it with confidence. Jordan Sparks, Jasmine Sullivan, Tim's, Ari Lennox on so many levels, Lizzo, Amber Riley, Rihanna, myself. And I've looked at some of my pictures and videos from back in the day. Y'all, my stomach was really small. When I danced on the CMAs, it was my first time wearing something that was revealing. And I hate that. The wardrobe team could kind of read me, and they gave me something to wear on top of the bra because I didn't want to just wear a bra. I've just never been that girl. I don't like that. Like, I don't mind looking sexy, but there's a way to look sexy to me. They could feel me. I think they were a little bit impressed too, so they wanted to help me as much as they could. And then they really liked me in the audition. So they kind of, you know, blessed me to put something up. It was still see-through, but it made me more comfortable. That was another time where I was like, I felt so much fatter than all the other girls. Y'all, I was not that far off from them. Like, I felt huge compared to them. I felt like I needed to do whatever it took to make sure I didn't have a stomach. Because I know a lot of girls, even right now, they won't get booked if they don't have that perfect body. Nowadays, though, they want you to have a small stomach, but everything else is, you know, a little juicy. But back then, they didn't want no juice, no sauce, no nothing. So I had to truly learn to love myself. And that moment at the table with Taylor and her mom and the other dancers, that was the day I was like, wait a minute, it doesn't really matter what you do. If people want to find something wrong, they will. So you have to love yourself or you're not gonna make it through this. I had to really find Lacey on the road, because not only was I dealing with that pressure, but I was also being bullied on tour by the other dancers, minus one because he realized what was going on and he stopped doing it. But sorry, I still get a little bit emotional. So it took a lot of prayer and growing up inwardly to love myself, because no one was gonna love me like I can love me. No one was gonna love me like God loves me. You know what I mean? So I kept those things in my heart. I kept those things in my mind to help me get through it all. Another experience that I had was a TV show that I did with Bruno Tonioli and Carrie-Ann Inaba from Dancing with the Stars. They did a spin-off show. And on that show, they wanted us to wear all these different things, and the wardrobe got so frustrated with me because they were like, this girl won't wear nothing. Now, I did wear some things that I thought was, you know, sexy enough, okay? But come to find out, they actually ended up calling my mom while I was out there and being like, can you tell your daughter it's okay to wear these things? Like, they literally, because they took our phones. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody because they didn't want us to leak the show or talk to the press or anything. So they actually took our phones and they wouldn't give it to us. So the fact that I got downstairs one day and my mom was on the phone, I was like, they really, really, really want me to wear these clothes. But I even told her, I was like, I'm not going to do it. She told me that it's just a uniform. And this is something I also heard Beyonce say. So I know that even people on that level sometimes rethink the outfit, rethink the costume. But that was something that she did tell me, was like, it's just a costume. You get to take that off. You get to step into Lacey once you're off that stage. But here's my thing. I want to be Lacey while I'm on the stage. Now, I will say, I am a bit more to myself and introverted and shy when I'm off stage. Like, I can be outgoing, but for the most part, when I first meet you or from just now coming into the room, I'm probably going to sit back and observe and see where I want to go. But once I hit stage, it's so different. It's just, I'm somebody else completely. But yeah, I just wasn't comfortable doing that. And I thought that was pretty crazy that they actually called her. They didn't even want us to talk to anybody. So they were serious. They really wanted me to wear these little, because it was one show where they wanted me to wear a bra and Daisy Dukes. We were doing, oh yeah, these boots are made for walking. And they wanted us to wear the cowgirl boots with the Daisy Dukes with like some of our butt hanging out, and then, you know, like a swimsuit top or whatever. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. The entire time, I was the only singer dancer that never hit the bottom two. And I was the only singer dancer that was never in the bottom two on my team. And then our team won the show and got our Hollywood Records contract. So all that being said, you know, I just stuck to who I am, and it actually benefited me. Telling my story a lot of the times, it actually helps a lot of young girls, and they tell me all the time that they're inspired by that because they get into the dance industry and they feel like, especially right now, y'all know how it is. Everybody's twerking, ain't nobody got clothes on. Everybody in the thong gonna stay. Like, I mean, granted, you go to an audition, you need to look at the brand of that artist at the time. That's gonna tell you what you're gonna be dealing with. And it's honestly hard to argue, because if you audition for that artist and you know this is something that they do, you honestly can't be mad if you don't get the part because of what you won't wear or what you won't do. You just need to figure out what artist you want to be on with and manifest it as best as you can. With Taylor, I already knew what type of artist she was. I went on to dance for the NHL though, for the Predators here in Nashville. And crazy enough, that year, so I was very strong about what I didn't want to wear. And I didn't know what the girls wore on like the Titans cheerleaders and the, you know, Predators dancers. I had no idea the type of things they wore. But when I tell y'all God has your back, he has your back, honey. So the year I danced for them was the year we wore the all white. It was the long sleeve top with the white skirt, the white boots. So the year before that, they basically wore bikinis. Dang near. And then the year after that was the exact same thing. But the year I was on there, it was a blessing that coach chose what she chose for us to wear. And I was just so happy when I found out. But that team, yo, let me tell y'all, that was pressure to stay small. Like, she didn't play games at all. If you were not the size she wanted you to be, you are not making the team. As a matter of fact, there's a chance you can get fired for gaining weight. She wasn't playing no games. Now, there were girls on there who were tiny, but they had body, you know? But for me, once again, I was in that mindset, like, I don't want to lose my job. I really want to do well. So I was making sure I was eating healthy and I was working out. Y'all, I had gotten so small. I already felt I was the biggest girl in the room during the auditions. So when it came to our celebration dinner for everyone that made the team that year, I fit into a little black dress. I think the thing was a size 4. Y'all, I couldn't fit that dress today if I hoped. If I wished on the little star. If I prayed, I'm sure God would, you know, hey, this is what you asked for. I couldn't fit that dress if I wanted to today. And I'll put a before and after of that dress and then what I look like in a dress today. Actually, there's a picture of me in a dress. I don't really post things like that all the time, but there's a picture of me in a sequins blue dress. I'll still put it up here before and after on my Instagram page at Lacey Mason Music. Honestly, I think I look good, honey. I really do. I hate the way I looked back in the day. When I thought of this episode, I realized I had to go back and really kind of open those doors back up. And I looked at my before and afters and I was like, oh my God, like, y'all, I was small. I was tiny to me. I didn't like the way I looked. Like, I could really see my bones in my face. I could see like the muscles and things like that. And yeah, my stomach was actually flat and I thought it was ginormous. I do not like the way that I looked. I looked sick. Like, are you kidding me, honey? I had to love me as a black woman. I had to love me in spite of the haters. And what I mean by that is I was promoted as dance captain 2 weeks in on tour with Taylor. I was asked to help out with choreography. I was asked to do all of these things that the other dancers, I guess, really wanted to do, or they wanted one of the other girls to do it because I guess they knew her and she had been in a video with Taylor before, or whatever the reasonings were. They were not down for it not being her. Okay, whatever their reasonings were, they I guess the other dancers looked at her as somebody that was close to Taylor, so having her back would make them closer to Taylor. I honestly don't know what they were thinking, but things got mad hard on tour, let me tell you. I actually started to run. I kind of, you know, like a little, like I would run and kind of hide away and I would just disappear. I wouldn't disappear as they couldn't see me, but I would disappear. I would close myself off, and I would build up walls. And I still do that till this day. I do want it to stop, and I am trying to hold myself accountable to continue, because I used to be that way, honestly, until the Fearless tour. That was the year, for some reason. Well, I think I know why. Because it seemed like they were winning, and that really affected me, because not only did I have their back, but to me, I'm one of the nicest people I know. And literally everyone else on tour, from management to the tour manager to everybody, would always compliment me on my personality. And there was honestly a day where I went into one of the buildings that we were at. I think we were in Vegas, and Taylor and her crew they were coming down the hall, and she stopped me and said, "Hey, you know you're doing a good job, right?" And I was like, "Thank you," you know, and I kept going. This was before that lunch though that we had, where I could tell that they started to get to her. There was a day that Justin Bieber came on tour with us, and they didn't have a clue who he was, but I did, so I was really excited. And I told them about how I just met him in the hallway, and they were like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So he came on tour with us again when we were overseas, and he remembered me, and to the point where him and his dancers and his team remembered me, to the point where they invited me to hang out with them. And the other girls, I guess they were just mad jealous, right? Because at one point they started lying to him like they bought his CD, and they didn't, but I was talking to him about his CD. So I guess that was their way of trying to make their way in. And then once we got to a corner where it was our turn to go on stage, and their crew kept going because they had just performed, one of the girls, the redhead, she looked at me and was like, "He only notices you because you're the only black girl here." Fire engine red hair? Really? That really threw me, because this is coming from a girl who spent most of her early 20s and teens going around telling everybody she wants to be black. I was really thrown by that. And then there was a point where they tried to get me fired, and one of the other dancers stood up and was like, "Lacey's done nothing but, you know, help us out, and she does everything we ask her to do. She's great at her job, and I'm not doing this. I'm out." He walks off of the bus. As a matter of fact, I even saved this guy's job. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but he was about to get fired. That was the moment I realized they got together and planned this. It was so crazy, because even after the whole thing was over, the tour manager came to me and was like, "Girl, you know you're good at this, right?" And I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate it." But that didn't take the tears away. That didn't stop the pain of people constantly trying to stop what was meant for me, honey. God put me in that position for a reason. I knew that God had me there. I wouldn't have been there for any other reason. And this is just like the way the industry works. It's cutthroat. People will come for you until they get what they want, and they will make sure to make your life, you know what. It took a lot of time. I mean, even till this day, I'm still getting over a lot of that pain. Some of y'all that follow me on Instagram saw me do this little rant when it came to, there was a lot going on in the dance world about like these artists using hip hop music and also discrediting them at the same time. And for some reason, I wanted to support my friend because I understood what he was saying and I believed in what he was saying. But for some reason, I took that like light years the other way, because I started light years the other way and started talking about my own experience with the people, well, the person that he was really speaking about. I said what I wanted to say about her because she was she is one of the problems in the dance industry, but at the same time, one of her good friends is the redhead from tour, and I added her in there. So I kind of went off on her as well. And she sent me this DM saying how she was so shocked and surprised at me, because back in the day, I would just take it. I just took it. I may have cried, but I took it, and I didn't want to cause any conflicts. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to be the sassy, loud, and, you know, crazy black girl. So I just took a lot of that stuff. So anyway, she was like, I'm so shocked at you. I can't believe, you know, you said those things. And then she was like, I'm sorry for anything that I've ever done to you. I just can't believe that came from you. So anyway, I went ahead and apologized to her for doing it the way that I did it. I did let her know that she was one of the reasons why my time on tour was a living, you know what. She did that stuff on purpose. So I just never let it out. And I guess I don't know why my mind went there, but at that time it was like, enough is enough. I'm hopping on this train. And then for some reason, I found my own tracks. But all that to say, I'm learning to love me no matter what. No matter what, people are going to hate on you. There's a purpose for every single person on this earth. And I hope you all understand that. If you feel alone, if you feel like nobody has your back, if you feel like nothing good ever happens to you, understand you are here for a reason. And you need to believe that for yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you. And you have to stand up in that, and you have to keep moving. The moment you sit down like I did, it ended up being years, y'all. Years before I stood up from the pain and the torture of that time. It was a bad situation. But there was a point where Elizabeth, the backup singer, went and bought everybody these little purses, and she went and bought everybody these purses and came back, and the redhead was walking down the hall, and then one of the guitar techs was walking down the hall, really, really, really young guy. She was about to actually stop and give me the purse that she had gotten for me, but then she saw the redhead walking down the hall, and instead of doing that, she passed by me, stopped, gave her a hug. I kind of stood there waiting just in case she still wanted to have whatever conversation she looked like she was about to start with me. She gave her purse, the redhead her purse, gave her a hug, looked at me and said, oh, I got you one too. Threw it at me, and it landed on the floor, because I was like, am I finna catch? I was looking at it like, am I finna catch this, or am I finna let this sucker hit the floor and keep walking? So she threw it, and I didn't try to catch it. For some reason, my mind just wouldn't let me do that, but it did hit the floor, and I was like, okay, Lacey, you have one of two things you can do here. You can pick this purse up, keep your integrity, say thank you, don't cause any problems. You're the black girl on tour. Go to the dressing room, do whatever you need to do in there, and keep trucking. Or you can walk away from this purse with attitude and, do the same thing. What I wish I had done was left the purse there and then went and did what I had to do with my face together, with everything being okay, with not giving her any of my energy. But being the girl I was back in the day, I didn't want to cause any tension being the black girl. So I said thank you, I picked it up, and I kept going. Now, while I was walking away, the young kid that saw her do it started busting out laughing. I'm talking laughing hard. Now, I've never heard this kid laugh so hard, but that's also how I knew the female dancers were kind of clicking up with people and telling, whatever it is, their side of things, whatever they wanted people to hear to get what they wanted. So that day I had to really pick myself, and I'm just learning every single day how to continue to love me in spite of them. I started actually going out alone and doing a lot of things, by myself. And then I got to a point where it's like, you can't let these people keep you entrapped. You can't let these people make you hide away. So I would still participate and still compliment them and still work for them and do whatever I needed to as their dance captain. There was even a point where one of the girls from the TV show that I was on, that we were actually all three on together, one of the girls that was on the opposing team, her sister invited all of us out to a pool party. I did not know this. So she came to see us at the Staples Center, or was it New York? It was either Madison Square Garden or it was Staples Center because the party was in Fresno, I believe. So anyway, she came to see us, and she happened to see us in the hallway, or see me in the hallway, and she was like, "Hi, Lacey," gave me a hug and all that, and was like, "I wish you would have come to the pool party. The other girl said you weren't able to make it." I looked at her like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were having a pool party." She was like, "Oh, you didn't?" I'm like, "No." I was like, "No, they didn't tell me." She was like, "Oh, that's weird." So they didn't even know that I found out. And then I didn't know that there was a pool party that we were all invited to. But I found out from the host herself that I was invited. And they left that little information out. Had no idea. So I went through a lot of things like that. And I could take that information and look at myself and go, what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me that I'm being treated this way? I had to really analyze and see what I had done to hurt them, other than them wanting the position that I had or the opportunities God was giving me. But favor ain't fair. You know what I mean? Maybe this just isn't your time. I wasn't sure that I was ever gonna tell any of this story. I stepped way back from loving myself. I stepped way back. And I say loving myself, not because I didn't learn how to love myself in spite of, but I felt like I stopped loving myself when I stopped feeding my gift, when I stopped walking my journey that I knew was meant and set for me, which is, you know, kind of what I'm doing now, especially with these vlogs. Yeah, I've gone through a lot in this industry, and it is cutthroat, and you can get really hurt, especially if you don't have a solid group of people around you who are telling you love who you are in spite of. When you have people around you that are like, you're gonna have to change if you want to be in this industry, you're gonna have to do this if you want that, you're gonna have to be someone other than you are until you get where you want to go, and then you can do whatever you want. That's garbage to me. I'm so sorry. That is garbage to me. We should be encouraging each other to love ourselves and pushing that to be the industry. The reason why the industry is what it is because we let it be that way. It doesn't have to be this way. Stand up for ourselves and take up for each other. You have to learn how to love yourself if you want to be a part of this industry. And how you do that is, first of all, your foundation, your why. Now, I would recommend you not run from the hardships, learn from them, work through them with God, and then I tell myself to keep going. Don't do what I did where you sit out because it's just like, it's too much and it hurts so bad. Don't let anybody do that to you, because that's what I did, and it cost me time. Anyway, thank you to everybody who has stuck by me, who's reposted everything that I've done, who's been very supportive, who's kept me going, basically. I appreciate you guys. So anyway, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell, click all from the pop-up menu so you never miss out. See ya.
Lace up, cause here we go.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I finally told y'all all that. That ain't even all of it. Whew. Let the comments begin.